Honorable Minister for Railways, Communication, Electronics and Information Technology, Shri Ashwini Vaishnaw ji, Honorable Secretary of State for Digital Affairs, Minister Cedric O, eminent panelists there and participants. It's a real pleasure for me to welcome all of you to the first India-France Digital Partnership Summit, which we have branded as InFinity India-France Innovation in Information Technology, which really reflects the infinite possibilities of partnership between India and France in the digital domain. This is the key pillar of the vision articulated by both Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and His Excellency President Emmanuel Macron for the strategic partnership between our two countries. It is also digital technologies at the heart of their strategies for shaping the future of India and France. So this session is an implementation of that vision, but it is also a reflection of a reality which I have seen in the course of the past year that I have been here, that there is a dire need to connect the ecosystems of India and France, India and Europe more closely, make each other more familiar and more aware of the possibilities and potential. So we've made a good start. We have over 16,000 registered participants, over 500. There are startups that have registered for the exhibition and 45 eminent panelists and speakers over the next 2 days and 8 sessions. And it wouldn't have been possible. I mean, since in this embassy, there's just the two of us, my very dynamic young colleague, Tusharanchu Sharma, and I who organized it, it wouldn't have been possible without the enthusiastic support of many stakeholders in the government and the private sector in both India and France. And this is a really encouraging sign. But who better to kick off this wonderful digital partnership summit than two leaders in our two governments? Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw, who has a background that is ideally suited for it, education in the elite Indian Institute of Technology, MBA from Wharton, extensive experience in government and private sector in key positions. He is now responsible for the great digital revolution taking place in India, and he's particularly focused on leveraging the power of digital technology for transforming the lives of the poor and the weak and for a more sustainable future for our economy. And of course, Minister Cedric O, one of the most dynamic leaders in Europe in digital sphere. He had a career, as many of us know, in one of the most technologically advanced companies, Safran, when he was advisor to the President of France and the Prime Minister of France on public participation in digital economy. And he's now responsible for transforming or translating President Macron's vision for making France a leader in digital economy, for digital inclusion, and for creating the right regulatory environment for making France a leader in the world in the digital domain. So we'll kick off with Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Excellency, Mr. Cedric O, Minister for Digital Affairs in the Government of France. Excellency, Mr. Jawed Ashraf, my very good friend. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I congratulate and thank the Embassy of India in Paris and the French government for successfully organizing the InFinity Summit. As Ambassador Ashraf explained, this will be a great bridge between India and France, the two economies where lots of startups are innovating, finding new solutions, considering the most vulnerable sections of the society and finding the right solutions for them. The past 2 years have been momentous in the history of human civilization. Pandemic has left a lasting impact on societies across the globe. Would it have been possible to connect with the loved ones, connect with the friends, cope with the pandemic without the use of digital technology? Absolutely no. When physical movement was restricted, digital means helped us communicate, connect, support, and come out of the pandemic in a better shape. The challenges we faced in India were momentous challenges. Providing food to 800 million people who needed food during this time of difficulty. Vaccination, covering the people who are living in the most remotest parts of the country, and we have covered more than 1 billion people with at least one dose of vaccination by now. Supply of medicines, revamping the healthcare infrastructure. All this was possible only and only because our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, he had a very clear digital vision, implemented some of the solutions which are out-of-the-box solutions, and these solutions helped us reach out to the weakest, the most vulnerable, the marginalized sections of the society. This innovative platform, this innovative approach, this approach of embracing technology helped us come out of the pandemic in a better shape and helped us reach out to the people in the most marginalized sections of the society. We in India, in our digital policy, in our digital philosophy, in our way of thinking, believe in open platforms. There are very good examples. The identity platform, which is Aadhaar, which is a unique platform in which now 18 countries are showing interest. More than 1 billion people have got digital identities because of this platform. Then the payment platform, which is the Unified Payment Interface, UPI. Today, Singapore has already signed a memorandum with us, with India, and many other countries across the world are showing interest in it. Primarily because it's an open platform, it can be trusted, there is no proprietary technology in it, it can be used by anybody across the world. The healthcare stack, COVID, which helped us cope with the pandemic, reach out to the billion plus people, have the vaccination certificates digitally signed, many more things, getting the vaccination slot registration, getting the medicines in proper time, getting appointments with the medical practitioners, the entire stack. Then the language translation platform. India is a diverse country with so many languages spoken here. So in that kind of scenario, how do we make sure that the people who have less access to digital technologies, people who don't have the access to the modern means of education, are still able to get the benefit of latest research in their own native languages? So that kind of platform. So all these are examples of open platforms where the community is contributing, where the government has built a platform, then APIs are opened up for entire private sector, the social sector, everybody else to come in, make use of it, and get the benefits down to the most vulnerable sections of the society. This summit, the InFinity Summit, will help the startups, engineers, policymakers, the government organizations, all to connect together, understand each other, understand the potential of many of these platforms, understand and benefit from the deep scientific research that the French government and the French organizations, institutions have done. A great history of scientific research from France. All this will be better understood and the benefits will percolate to both the societies. We have, between India and France, there is a history of partnership in various sectors, in energy sector, in transportation, in space, in railways, and many more sectors. So this summit will be one more step in increasing the collaboration, strengthening the partnership, and making sure that our private sector participants and the social sector participants also are as collaborative as the governments are. I wish all the participants great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I would now like to request Minister Cedric O, French Minister for Digital Transition and Electronic Communications, to kindly deliver his address.
Hello, Excellence Mr. Vaishnaw, Minister Ambassador for India in France, Excellencies, dear friends. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to take the floor in front of you today in this InFinity Summit, which I think is dedicated to one of the issue of cooperation that could open a new era, both for India and for France. And I do believe that we have a lot in common and a lot to do together for many reasons. India and France obviously have a strong determination to carve their own way, both from an economic, sovereign, and also a political point of view in the global landscape in the coming decades. And digital is obviously one of the sectors of the domain on which we need to build that sovereignty. There is an ongoing competition at the worldwide level for technology with big players involved, China, the US, and France, Europe as a whole, I would say, but also India want to carve their own way. This is why fostering our digital ecosystem is so important in the two countries, with the major year in 2021. In France, we've seen 15 unicorns emerge, almost 15 unicorns. I think this is 35 or around 35 in India. And I do think that those are very good omens for our two economies. If we want to be able to carve our own way, if we want to be able to build our technological but also sovereign and democratic future, we need to be able to make new champions emerge. And as far as digital is concerned, there already a huge cooperation between France and India. We know that big French corporation like Capgemini or other company like Atos, which is playing a very huge role as far as high-performance computing are concerned, have already a huge footprint in India. And there are new initiatives like the French tech community in Bangalore, India, which help to build bridges between the two countries. But I'm completely I'm persuaded that we have the opportunity to do more. And we have the opportunity to widen and to broaden the cooperation between the two ecosystems. This is why that initiative from the embassy in India is so welcome. I do believe that both for French companies to operate in India, but also for Indian companies to get global or at least to set a foot in Europe with France is something that we have to be able to develop in the coming months and years. I do believe that the convergence between the two countries is also important in other areas such as regulation. We know that technology is heavily needed in order to be able to answer to economic problems, but also to societal challenges like climate change, aging society, especially in Western Europe, but also demographic pressure, issue on food, and so on and so on. We need more innovation. But at the same time, innovation can sometimes raise questions within our democratic societies, and this is a concern that both India and France are sharing. This is why this is very important that we could cooperate on what is a technological or technology-led sustainable society in the coming years that has to work on both legs, innovation and regulation. We have, for instance, the opportunity to share very important discussions within the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, which is one of the only forums where like-minded countries, democratic countries, can have discussion on the impact and maybe tomorrow the limit that we have to put to technology if we want technology to be sustainable for our democracies. I don't want to be too long, but I do think that technology is shaping our world and will be shaping both our economic future, but also our societal future. And we need more multilateralism. We know that the internet, the digital world, does not know any border. And so obviously We have to be able to regulate at the continental or at the national level. But if we want to build a multi-stakeholder future, then we need more multilateralism. And this is why, again, I want to congratulate the embassy, the Indian embassy in Paris for taking that initiative. And I hope this will only be the first step towards a common future.